Hello, everyone. Welcome to Good Body, Good Brain. Today, we're going to do some fascinating talking about talking, receiving, giving, back as a gift. And so often we don't want to be around it because we're going to be criticized. But Rachel Platt from PLATTinum Consulting is going to give us some tips on how to do it the best way possible, that your employees actually grow and really enjoy learning more about how to do this thing. So I'm going to turn it over here to Rachel. Thank you for being here today, Rachel.
Thank you, Dr. Sally, so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this for a while. It's taken us a few tries to make this happen, and I'm glad that we are finally together.
Yes, we are. And we both have puppy dogs, and we may hear some puppy dog noises around, but that's okay. This is the real world. We live in the real world.
Yes, authentic lives. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, we have real lives. We really do. And so you were talking a little bit before. I was telling you how much I admire the people who are in the HR hub, because if you've got a good HR team, the company runs like a well-oiled clock. If you don't, some people are kind of prickly. I've dealt with some HR people that was a little prickly, and I was thinking, like, why are you like this? How come you aren't sweet? Because you're supposed to help me be a better employee, right? So I'm going to let you jump in right there.
Yeah, look, there are many different philosophies about the role that human resources plays in an organization. I am a big believer that HR really is in the business of people. It's not about being a people person, about being nice, about planning parties and events. There's certainly is a compliance component to it, but it is about helping leaders and managers understand the implications, the positive and the ramifications of being or not being a great people leader, and how the culture that you create impacts people, not just on their job, but their physical health, their mental health, and how you can really, by showing that you value, that you appreciate, that you're giving consistent feedback, that you are invested in somebody, not just their career, but in them as a human being, you can have such a tremendous impact on that individual, as well as on your bottom line. Your company's profitability will be better. The research shows it consistently, that those organizations with great leaders are more profitable. And so we want to focus on how to give and receive feedback in a way that enhances people's work experience and their life overall.
Yes, and you hit up on a really good point. Yes, we are humans first. Before we walk inside that building, we're a human. And if we don't feel like we're being treated as a human, it's so frustrating when you want to have that connection with people and you can't get it. You go home and do things like feel all awful. And I never kick my dogs, but some people like want to kick their dogs. They go home and they take it out on their spouse or their dog or their kids or whatever. If they're not getting stuff they need at work, it's a trickle down.
You are absolutely right. And people show up at work with all of their history, all of their experiences, what's happening in their home life, and they show back up at home with how work is impacting them. And let's be honest, people spend typically more than half of their waking hours at work.
Mm-hmm.
And so creating that environment where people are engaged and feel that they are contributing leads to a better society, honestly. I mean, work should be thought of, in my opinion, as, part of the overall social experiment, because good working environment leads to more happiness at home. The money to afford things leads to, less crime, less substance abuse, all of those social aspects. Anyway, we're getting off on a tangent, but I'm really passionate.
This is a soapbox. I can feel it right now. I can feel it, and thank goodness you've taken it up as part of your consulting, because I think maybe newer managers are afraid to be human because they don't want to be seen as like a pushover, or if I'm not stern or whatever, if I don't take a certain position, they won't respect me. But that's not how you gain respect.
No, it is not. We spend a lot of time now talking about authenticity and being genuine and being vulnerable, sharing. We are all human. You don't have to know everything, how to do everything. And particularly these days, with the changes with AI and the concerns that people are having, frankly, even going back 20, 30 years, you don't have to know everything off the top of your head. You can research. We have more knowledge in our back pockets than people had, for millennia. And so just being, I say it all the time, be a good human, show up with emotional intelligence, show up with care and concern. You will get so much more with honey, that, as the expression goes, than than you do with venom. But you do need to be specific. Don't misunderstand. A leader, they need to be kind, but they need to be clear. That's not to say that you're not holding people accountable. That's not to say that you are not setting high expectations. But it is to say that if you need to have a conversation with someone, you're coming in from a place of kindness and a place of, assuming that nobody comes to work wanting to do a poor job every day. People want to do well. They want to feel that they are contributing. And if you start as a leader with that as your baseline, and I want to give you some feedback so that you can improve, meet the expectations, you can learn, you can expand your own career, your own knowledge, contribute more, be rewarded in different ways. That's really where we've got to get our leaders focused on not just what I need you to do, but the why of what I need you to do and what the downstream effects are when you don't do it.
Oh yes, and project management. I really feel for project managers because they can have one bottleneck, just one person who's stopping the stream from flowing down the hill, and it becomes an entire thing. It affects so many people. And the other thing I like when leaders tell people how their own individual niche or work actually fits into the big picture, and how everything sort of works better when this happens on their end, and then that helps that person over here, and it just flows so much easier and better, and we end up with a better product.
Yeah, the purpose. What is the why, as Simon Sinek says? What is our purpose for being, and why are certain things important? what does success look like, define it for people. Those are the critical steps that people leaders can take to really improve the performance of individuals on their team and improve their own performance, understanding and asking questions about how certain things impact other areas of the business or the end customer.
Yes. And also too, you don't have to be like somebody's buddy to know like what their wife's name is. And is she going in for her fourth child now? It's like, are they on edge because she's expecting? All these things really contribute to the core. And teammates, if they've been together for any length of time and they're very cohesive, they know these things about each other. They know, like, he's a little tense today because the due date was yesterday and we don't know what's happening. So all those things factor in to the whole big milieu of working together. And if someone's a leader, they know how am I going to talk to this person that they will hear it the best, because we all get different communication styles. That's why I love the program Bank, where we have different communication styles. Yes. And I'm a full-on nurturer. I'm an N. That's the get-go. I'm going to try to get to know you. I'm trying to do all those kinds of things, but also you have to be accountable in your actions. Yes. Yeah. Yes. I say I'm part cheerleader. The other half of me is drill sergeant. We got to go. Come on, let's go.
On with it. And there are so many great models that are out there about communication styles and understanding your own communication style and having the ability and learning how to quickly assess and guess what other people's communication styles are is really important to your success in an individual success in an organization, because you cannot change anyone else. You can only change yourself. And so therefore, really thinking, okay, here's what I'm trying to accomplish. How can I speak to whomever in a way that they're going to hear me? What is their communication style? How will they receive this information? And what do I need to do in order to ensure that they receive it in the way that is most likely to get me to the outcome that we all desire? That's what it's all about. Caring enough about someone else to know about them, and caring enough about the business to adapt when possible to ensure that the best outcomes happen. That's how you're successful.
Yes. Yes. And so true. And leadership really, if you look at an organization and you look at it for about a generation and you see what happens during that generation, leadership impacts things so much. Like, the CEO says, what big deal, like I'm here, but no, every action that you do trickles down to that manager, to that manager, to that manager. I think it might have been Simon who was talking about how he could spot a good leader, because when he's talking to someone, say they're walking down the street going out to lunch, when an employee that's known to this person is walking towards them, they make an effort to say hello, look at them in the eye, and if they're equipped to,
line, but yes,
look them in the eye and say, "How's your dog doing? I heard you had to take him in for surgery last week," and the person will go, "Oh, well, thanks for asking. He's so much better now." And you keep walking, but that you have touched that person in a way that no one else will have touched them for that day.
Yes, you are absolutely right. There are so many. I mean, the tip that you gave about knowing things about your employees, not to overstep or get in the way of their boundaries. People have a right to privacy, but knowing some basic things and caring enough to ask is just it makes work more fun.
Yes.
But also when you are more cohesive and care about the person as an individual, you also are more collaborative, which results in having better business outcomes. It's a simple equation.
Right. A productivity soars when you have a cohesive team. Yes. So talk a little bit about if you were going to train a CEO or a leader to give really good feedback, what would you suggest of how they, besides knowing their person and their communication skill, still, how the style and whatever, what are some other things you can tell them to help them like be a better giver?
A better giver of feedback is someone who is thoughtful about and clear in their planning for the conversation. So a big part of this has to do with not only what you say in the moment, but how you are thinking about it. And so being very clear by gathering specific instances, specific examples, things that you have observed is critical to be able to mention that. Really understanding what the expectations are, or what the individual thinks that the expectations are, and being able to clarify if there has been a change in those expectations, or if the person is not meeting those expectations, but reiterating very clearly and succinctly what success looks like is such an important aspect. Another thing that I always tell leaders to plan for and to jot down notes is that if there is a problem, and right now the examples that I'm giving you are really when you are giving what we either call constructive feedback or redirecting feedback. And we'll talk about positive feedback in a minute, but it is so important that you can define what success looks like, but how someone who might be struggling or someone who is not meeting your expectations, the ability to co-create with them and brainstorm with them about how this issue can be overcome is really important. It's not the leader's job to solve the problem or how the problem gets solved. It's the leader's job to give the feedback and encourage and think about creative solutions. So the leader needs to jot down some ideas, but they really need to practice their coaching skills to say, what do you think we could do to change the outcome? What do you need to do? What tools do you need? How can I help? All of those components are really, really critical, not just saying, here's the solution, but co-creating what the solution may be. And then one of the other ones that I always recommend to leaders is to be prepared and think about how someone may react. Meaning that what day, what time of day, where are you hosting this discussion? Is this online? Is this in person? Is this in a fishbowl conference room that everybody can see? Some of the logistics are such an important part so that you can anticipate what someone's emotional reaction may be. Are they going to be angry? Are they going to be frustrated? Are they going to cry? Are they going to be silent? Are they going to slam out the room, slam the door as they leave the room? Pre-thinking about all of those things makes for such a better conversation, so that you're prepared. Because preparation for this, it's a difficult conversation to have. Many people are conflict avoidant. They don't want to hurt someone's feelings. But as we talked about before, feedback really can be a gift. It is a gift when it is offered as as truth telling, as a kindness to help someone to be more successful. Somebody has to feel safe, psychologically safe, in order to receive that feedback. But if you as a leader think of, I'm giving this feedback as a gift in the spirit of, this is a gift because I want this person to improve, and your team member is thinking about receiving it as a gift or as fuel for their career, well, then that's where magic happens. That is where real change can happen.
Yes. And also, too, when that leader has done those little small things along the way, and then finally they've developed, they're not brothers, but they've developed a degree of trust. And the person, when they're called into their office, they're not expected to be blindsided or some reason. And I know a lot of employees, get sort of stymied and they don't know what to do. I said, well, have you gone to your boss and asked them to give you some feedback that will help you and support you? They said, well, I never thought of that. I said, well, that's what they're there for. They're there to help you be more successful, the team be more successful. So why sit there and sort of like spin your wheels and know that you're not reaching your potential and you just don't have the right tool in your toolbox? And they've got the tools. They can show you how to get there.
Advocate for yourself. Absolutely. And ask for help. I mean, that's part of the authenticity and vulnerability. And, one thing that I say to employees all the time is, give a courtesy to your boss is to send an email in advance to say, hey, at our next meeting, or can I get time on your schedule? I'd love to get some feedback on this. Not that if you don't say it in the heat of the moment, you might not get something actionable feedback. But if you really want meaningful feedback, give your supervisor a few minutes to think about it and plan for it. Give them how they want to say it, what they want to say. Just doing a walk by and being like, hey, I see you're free, does not always get you the most meaningful and actionable feedback that you possibly could. So be courteous to them also.
Yes, also, yes. And when we're working in, some people, like I love tech. I'm a really geeky person. I love tech. So I started, well, we've had AI for a long time. We just haven't called it that.
Yes.
It's been around.
Exactly.
It's been doing stuff. I used to work in a lab. We used a computer to do compilations for us and all this kind of stuff. That was just pure AI. That's all it was. So people are like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. I can't, all this stuff. They get so wound up over a thing that they just kind of like get reactive and go overboard. And I think a good leader that's calm and steady and relaxed and knows the landscape of what the whole company looks like can really, even in like your, some people have weekly meetings, some people have monthly meetings. In your meetings, you say, hey, this is what's going on now over in AI. I'm just giving you some feedback about what's happening. Don't be worried if some tech shows up at your desk to do some implementation of something. Don't be scared, because nobody's going to, we're not monitoring you. We're trying to give you some tools that will help you do more of the things that are in your zone of genius instead of the other mundane stuff that anybody else can do, because that's why we hired you.
Yeah. I mean, look, dealing with change is the most difficult thing for humans anywhere, particularly at work. People don't like to feel like they are not in control. So it doesn't matter what the topic is. Being as open and transparent as you can be as a leader, and as if you are not a leader, but you're listening to your team leader, understanding that they're just human and they're trying to do the best that they can with the information that they have. They don't have all the answers either most of the time. We wish that they did, but that's not reality. And so back here in the real world, everybody's doing the best that they can. And so let's give everyone a little bit of grace, and hopefully you're in a position where you can ask questions, get additional feedback, have your questions be answered. But at the end of the day, let's talk. And if you're concerned or confused about something, let's talk about that, and let's see if we can make it better. Again, it's often about co-creation. In the best work arrangements and scenarios, it's about co-creation of a solution to a problem, whatever that problem might be, big or small.
Yeah, and sometimes it takes some maturity on the part of the employee. So sometimes they may have just come out of college and this is their first job, or they may have been around a couple of years and they don't feel like as confident yet in their position. Just being able to say to them, hey, if you're having anything that's going on, we've got people that are trained to help in this area. If you want some additional help, or you want to be mentored, or any of those kinds of things, it's all here because we've all been through it. Once upon a time, I was a newbie. Once upon a time, I walked through the door and I thought, oh heck, what am I supposed to do now? It's all happened to all of us. And we want to give you the best shot at you really feeling like you're part of this and having some fun, because the bottom line is it's not supposed to be dreary and all those kinds of things. We're supposed to be uplifting each other and having a little fun. And I think the most disservice an employee can do is, instead of going to their boss about something the boss directly handles, is to go to their coworker and gossip.
Yes.
Because that tears things down rather than building them up.
Yes. Period. Amen. End of sentence.
Yes. Go to the person. I used to work for a gal, and she said she loved to go buy new cars. And the sales rep would come up and say, oh, can I help you? And she said, no, you can have your boss come out here and help me. He said, well, I can help you. She said, no, I don't speak to angels when I can talk to God.
Oh.
And that's exactly what she would say. And the guy would go, she must be a little cuckoo. But then the boss would come out, and she already had a deal in her mind. She got the best deals on car buying I've ever seen. It's because she had her deal in her mind, and she went to the person that could implement it, because the sales rep couldn't. So if you know the person to go to, it doesn't have to be the CEO, but if there's somebody on the team who's like a ancillary leader, you can say, can you help me with this thing? Because I'm just not getting it.
Yeah. I used to work with our entry-level teams quite a bit at a prior employer. And we used to always say to folks, ask questions, take notes. Do not, you can ask questions, as many questions as you want. Don't ask the same question 3 times. Take notes, refer back to your notes. But ask the questions, because if you've got the question, we're sure that somebody else has. If we can explain it a different way, we will do that. If you learn in a different way than how we're trying to teach you, let's get to the bottom of that so that you are able to be successful. But I always say to folks, feel free to ask, but take notes and listen to the answers.
Yes, and actually try to do some application. And if you do the application and you get stuck along the way in the sequencing, just come back and ask another question.
Right. And by the way, try to come with a recommendation. I think that the answer to do this is X. Come with a suggestion. Those are great tips when working with your boss. all of them,
Okay.
regardless of what level you are in the organization.
Yes. And so let me ask you this, Rachel. If someone's listening to this and there are like a small or medium sized business or whatever, how can they contact you to get some help, some real good consulting HR help that they know that they desperately need? How do they get in contact with you?
Absolutely. I love it when people connect with me on LinkedIn. I am there regularly. I post very practical people strategy and workplace insights. My website is PLATTinumConsulting.com. Platinum is spelled with 2 T's, like my last name. PLATTinumConsulting.com. And you can always shoot me an email. It's rplatt@PLATTinumConsulting.com. I'm happy to talk about how to create thriving workplaces with anyone.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I so appreciate you being here today, because people need to hear these tidbits, but they're like golden nuggets. If they only apply one thing that you said today, just pick one and start out and just apply that one and see how it works and get comfortable practicing. Sometimes you have to practice on your family.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially when you have young children who need just some redirection. Sometimes you have to practice on them. But all of this stuff is so great. And literally, there's answers everywhere. You just have to be willing to receive them and apply them and see how it works for you.
You are absolutely right. Before we go, let me just say one thing to add on to what you said. You know, today we talked a lot about constructive or redirecting feedback. I want to give the biggest push actually for positive and reinforcing feedback. It is so meaningful to pull someone aside, use that same strategy of having specific observed examples of, I saw how you handled this client. They were upset. They were, whatever the situation was, and you did X. I was so impressed with X. I wish, is there a way for us to have you teach your colleagues how you did this? Let's use it as a case study. Let's show it as an example. Let the person know that you want to see more of that. By the way, this works at work, with your children,
at home,
with your significant other, with your friends. Giving positive feedback is the greatest trick in the world to get people to do more of what you want them to do. And it's not a trick.
Catch them. Catch them doing
it right. Good.
Yeah, catch them doing it right and say, "Oh, wow, that's fantastic! I love it when you do that." And it creates a whole new channel in your brain. We can get wonky on the neuroscience, but it's actually we're using neuroplasticity to build new pathways that the person will now seek to get positive feedback by doing certain things that we want them to.
It's amazing. It is amazing. The changes and the impact that just a positive word can have in someone's day, at work, in their life. So let's leave with that. Everyone, go out and say something positive to the people in your life.
Okay, my final statement is going to be, Rachel Platt, you are amazing. And if you could clone yourself and we could put you in some of these other corporations that are struggling, wow, we could really fly. But I know you're just one person, and as one person, you can still impact so many people. People are going to listen to this podcast. It's going to be on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and all the majors and iHeart and all those things. And when they hear you actually speak these things, they'll say, "Oh, that doesn't sound that hard. Maybe I could try some of that with my people."
Yes. There are so many tricks. I call them tricks. They're not tricks, but real tips, practical, pragmatic tips that don't cost a lot of money, but doing them intentionally, deliberately, and consistently can change your team and change your department and change your success level. And that's what we all want. We all want more success.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining me today. I can't wait to get this out, and I can't wait for people to listen to it and then call you and give you feedback. Thank you, Rachel.
I hope so.
PLATTinum Consulting. Come on, give her a call.